The Principles on How to Work on Yourself by Rohn. Personal Development. Do something different over the next 90 days than you did during the previous 90, such as pick up some books to read. If you start acting differently under the same conditions, do something new, such as learning new health disciplines or improving your relationship with your family. Since we have no control over the external factors, we can only modify ourselves. What we do can be altered. He then revealed to me another formula for success, saying, "Mr. Rohn, you've drawn everything you have now because of the person you've become. What you currently own is a result of who you have grown to be." Several little, basic ideas are presented here. Once you comprehend these, a ton of things start to make sense. Now, it can be challenging to accept responsibility for your actions rather than shifting the blame to the market or another party. It might be a difficult mission to make that shift. And I found this one to be a little challenging. "Mr. Rohn, you have coins in your pocket," he said. "You have no money in the bank. The debtors are on the phone. You have not kept your commitments. Here's what happens," he says. "Due to the person you have become, you have drawn the things to you up until this point. Well, how can I change all that?" I asked. "Very easy," he said. "Everything will change for the better if you change. You're not required to alter the outside world. You only need to alter what is on the inside. You just need to grow more in order to have more." Then he added, "Instead of wishing it were simpler, strive to improve. Wish for more talents instead of fewer challenges. Start putting these adjustments into practice for yourself. It'll all change for you," he added. Schoaf declared, discreetly, "Mr. Rohn, learn to put more effort into improving yourself than into your career." My life changed for the better once I realized it. Learn to put more effort into improving yourself than into your career. He stated, "You can support yourself if you put in a lot of effort at work. You can improve yourself if you put in the effort." Wow! If you had known me when I was 25 years old, you would have remarked, "Jim Rohn works hard." You would have said that if you knew who I was. I'm the guy, I have no problem arriving early or departing late. That is fine with me. "Well, Jim, Ron works hard," you'd have said. You question, "Well, how come he's behind on his obligations and has nothing in the bank but pennies in his pocket?" I did put a lot of effort into my work, but not into improving myself. I'm telling you, if you get that basic idea and begin the procedure today, at the very least tomorrow, I'll give you till tonight to consider it. I'm telling you, by beginning this entire process of personal development, working on yourself, and increasing your marketability, you can drastically alter your income. And if you start working harder on yourself than you do on your job, economics is the least of the values you may start earning in terms of equity. Improve yourself and your skills by working hard. Work hard to improve yourself and acquire grace. I'm telling you, if you do all of this stuff to increase your marketability, your entire life might change overnight. Promotions are no issue. I assure you that increasing your value to the firm won't be an issue. Cash is not a problem. Economics is no issue. Future is no issue. Just start working on the appropriate thing. Not force changes on the world. Never attempt to alter the seed. Keep the dirt as is. Don't alter the sunlight. Don't alter the weather. Don't alter the seasonal balance. Start working on the inside and let the wonder of everything that is available work for you. Do some philosophy work. Improve your attitude. Your personality needs work. Get better at language. Improve your communicating talent. Improve each of your skills. And I'm telling you, if you start making those adjustments in your personal life, everything will change for you. You attract success through the person you develop into. You don't pursue, chase, or run after success. Success is a trait you acquire and a person you become. You draw success to you. Therefore, your own personal development is the key to unlocking all the treasures, whether they be financial, social, or spiritual treasures, or treasures in any other way you can conceive of. Then he added another that was so crucial that it was probably worth the seminar's cost. This is it.
The value of what you become far outweighs that of what you get. The value of what you become far outweighs that of what you get. Not, what am I getting here, is the most important query to ask when working. What am I becoming here? Is the key question to ask yourself while working. What am I getting, not? What am I turning into? Therefore, what you become is crucial. Because you attract what you become. If you become pessimistic, pessimism will find you. Your identity attracts others. Therefore, I considered the topic of personal development to be of utmost importance. My life was altered by it. By the time I was 31, I was millionaire. And that only dealt with the financial aspect of it. From the age of 25 to 31, it took me 6 years. That was incredible. Mr. Schoaf, who taught me some incredibly easy lessons for more than 5 years until he passed away at the age of 49, barely completed the 9th grade of school, never completed high school, never attended college, and never attended university. He did this by using language that was quite simple, which I believe was crucial for me as a young person from a farm in Idaho. Because I would have missed it if it had been technical. I would have retreated if it had been mystic, you know. But it was just simple, straightforward, ABC-type material that I had never considered before. He did begin to remind me, and those concepts altered the course of my life. I told Mr. Schoaf, you know, this is all they pay, at that point. He stated, Mr. Rohn, you've been employed for 6 years. Why aren't you performing better? This is all the company pays, I added. Well, that's not true, he responds. I answered, not at all, this is my compensation. The business just pays this. No, this is all the firm pays you, he replied. I pondered, that's a new perspective, right? Doesn't the corporation pay other people twice, 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times this amount? He questioned. Indeed, I replied. He stated, and the corporation does not only pay this. They just pay you that. And wouldn't your salary increase 2, 3, 4, or 5 times if you were eligible? I suppose, I replied. He then replied, we are not required to work on the business. We must put effort into you. You can see that was the start of the concept of personal development, as he put it. Things cost too much, I informed him. No, you can't afford them, he replied. I believed, that's a novel idea, to be sure. I had not given that any thought. You know, we put some of the priceless items on the top shelf so you can't access them until you meet the requirements. You must stand on the books you've read if you desire the items on the higher shelf. Every book you read allows you to raise your position a little bit so you can reach items on higher shelves. You see, I picked up on those ideas. It was just amazing. And this was the most crucial, you attract success through the person you develop into. I tell you, that word altered my course. You attract success through the person you develop into. You don't strive for success. You can't quite catch it, just like when you're pursuing a butterfly. By being an expert, you can attract success. You see, those were brand new ideas to me. Simply said, I'm working really hard to support myself. He stated the following to me, and it transformed my life. After 3 visits, I had the opportunity to teach this in Moscow and other cities around Russia. Schoaf taught me that profits are preferable to salaries. I didn't learn that in high school. I attended college for 1 year, but no one ever taught me that. I was not taught. Profits are preferable to salaries. You can only make a livelihood by working, not by making a fortune. And how could you simultaneously work on making money and a living? Well, you could start working part-time on your fortune while you're working full-time to make ends meet, he suggested. I said, wow. He then said, now that I've gotten used to it, getting up in the morning is pleasure. Work to make a fortune, but also to get up in the morning and pay the rent. First and foremost, I want to support my family, then I want to become wealthy. He also showed me how to make money and a living. Identify what I did. I discovered how to generate both a living and wealth. And I discovered that, once given the information, anyone could complete the task. And at the age of 25, I first began to receive this amazing information. He added, your income is directly tied to your philosophy, not the economy, to paraphrase. No one has ever told me that, I thought. I kept expecting the economy to improve. No, your philosophy needs to change, he replied. I assured him that I was crossing my fingers. That won't help, he said. What then could I do to alter my income and double it by 2, 3, 5, 10, and then 10 once more? Where could I turn? He then began teaching me the disciplines and how to acquire the talents I needed to transform my life. This man was exceptional. For me, those were exceptional times. Simple ABC fundamentals can change your life in every way imaginable. Here is what I discovered: not to look for the exotic before you've found the basic. And the fundamental ideas he shared with me at the time changed my life. Now that you're motivated and ready to make a change, let me share with you the first 3 steps you can take to start living a new, more fulfilling life. The following steps: first, learn how things operate. To improve, the first step is to learn. Really changing your life requires ideas. Nothing can't be changed by an idea. Additionally, Schof showed me that the main issue is a lack of ideas rather than a problem. I didn't have any money at start. I informed Mr. Schof that I was cash-strapped. That's not a problem, he said. You see, before that, I had always believed.
Right? I was perplexed. He stated, no. The issue is a lack of knowledge on how to make money and accumulate riches. Lack of ideas, not money, is the problem. So, if you get the idea, realize that anything is changeable. Now, you need a regular study of learning if you want ideas. Schof added, when you find something that works, record the information in your journal, to his earlier statement. The head is not a filing cabinet. Make a note of it in your journal so you can take the next best action: repetition. 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 Review it. And if you repeat it and go over it, you'll see that eventually, on an enigmatic day, the concept germinates, begins to grow, and manifests itself. Your bank account, home address, personality, and way of life. But write down the thoughts in your journal. Learn how things operate. Schof gave me the word study to help me make a change in my life. Superb word. If you want to succeed, learn about success. To be happy, learn about happiness. Study wealth if you want to be affluent. Don't rely on chance. Make a study of it. Some folks simply keep their fingers crossed as they go about their days. You see, that won't work. You must research the factors that can alter your personal, social, spiritual, and economic circumstances. Here's a qualifying phrase, the first of several that will appear during the seminar. The first is this: you might not be able to act on everything you learn. I recognize that. You might not be able to implement everything you learn, but you should do everything you can to find out. See, you don't want to reach the end of your life only to find that just 1/10 of it was spent living, and the other 9/10 were lost through lack of opportunity or knowledge. So that's the first. Then, learn how things operate. Here is the human quality that will help you find out: curiosity. Keep that in mind, and be curious. You may assist by adding the following word: childish interest. What will children do if they truly want to know something? Annoy you, that is the word. They are able to ask a zillion inquiries. When you assume they are finished, they still have 1,000. You'll be pushed to the limit by them. It is an asset. When you must be aware. Be more innocent. If you're still interested, here are 3 ways to learn how to alter anything, your life's course, or any aspect of it. Here are 3 methods for learning how to alter anything. The first is to read. Learn to read well. All of the successful people I know and collaborate with on a daily basis are avid readers. They read because they are curious. They must be aware. They simply kept reading, 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 reading. Learn to read well. Now, that is my viewpoint. Make up your own mind after listening to both the other lectures and mine. Be a student, not a follower. Okay? For a transformation in your life, I suggest you have to read. Learning from your own experiences is one approach to do so. But learning from the experiences of others is another method. You see, if you read one book, you could potentially save 5 years. Did you know there are books on how to become more powerful, decisive, a speaker, a leader, influence others more effectively, and enhance your personality? Did you know that topic has books? And nobody reads them. What would you say to that? They can also read. Did you know that hundreds of prosperous people have penned their life experiences and the steps they took to achieve success in books? Additionally, nobody reads it. What would you say to that? I guess the guy is busy. You understand, the man claims, yes, you do work where I do. It is already late when you finally make it home. You need to eat dinner, watch a little TV, and then go to bed. You cannot spend the entire night curled up on a chair reading. Additionally, the man is late on his automobile payment. Good, diligent, and sincere workers. But you need to go beyond sincerity and put forth a lot of effort. You'll end up cold and stony broke if you don't, at the end of your life. You must be more than a competent worker. You must be a proficient reader. My viewpoint. You are no longer required to read all night. Okay? However, that's hardly a bad place to start if you're poor, is it? Get the treatment started. But note this down, 30 minutes every day. Just set aside 30 minutes each day to read. If you can, extend it to an hour, but at least make it 30 minutes. Read for at least 30 minutes each day, preferably more, on something uplifting, stimulating, motivational, or educational. The following hint is, every day. Don't forget. Don't miss after you set this up. Miss your 30 minutes, but not a meal. Because while you may survive without some meals, you cannot survive without literature. According to a verse in the Bible, people cannot survive on food or bread alone. It claims that after food, words are the most important thing. Words feed the mind and set humans apart from animals and dogs. Words are food for the soul. Food and speech are therefore necessary for humans to be happy and healthy. Some people read so little that they have mental rickets. I recently warned my workers. They are psychologically malnourished. As a result, I advise developing good reading habits and spending 30 minutes every day reading. Now, some people avoid reading because they struggle with it. I recognize that. Additionally, the national average is not great. People's reading abilities are generally weak. Right, they're still attempting to use awkwardly outdated techniques from the past. Taking each word in turn. And when you read with such subpar abilities, your mind typically wanders, because there are several factors you might consider. The human mind is a remarkable organ. Additionally, if you read poorly, your thoughts will divert from what you are trying to read. Ever read a page and pondered its content? Right? I had to read that sentence again. Right? That's because the mind is merely carrying out this task, correct? I'm just looking around. Have you ever read a book to fall asleep? That's another issue, you see. Who needs it, the mind asks, and then it just stops, right? Poor abilities, a man remarks, no use starting, right? I mean, I'd never get through this one, after taking a look at the 500 pages of the book. Anyway, we devote a substantial portion of our weekend program to discussing 2-3 hours, and we go through reading skills.
The topic's name is How to Read a Book a Day. And I'll tell you what, reading one book a day will change your life. A book a day will transform your entire life, after all. Get exposed to a wide range of topics, including spiritual, moral, personal, economic, historical, geographical, and everything else. If you read a book a day, you can actually transform. Therefore, you might like to attend the weekend and participate in the reading class. It's amazing. The life-changing power of one book per day. However, here's the secret: regardless of how quickly or slowly you read, how awkwardly or proficiently you read. Don't skip. What reading entails is this: reading is mining the well of concepts. Reading is what you do to tap into the wealth of ideas. Any aspect of your life can alter thanks to ideas. And if you have a valid reason not to spend at least 30 minutes each day exploring the wealth of ideas or to spend the money to buy the books, I'd love to hear it. You wouldn't believe the excuses some folks have. I remark, John, look at this gold mine I found. I have so much gold that I am unsure of what to do with it. Visit us and dig. I ain't got a shovel, declares John. Well, John, go get yourself one, I say. You know what they want for shovels, he asks. I'll offer you the first 2 novels, which are at the age of 25, my library. Though it began with just 2 books, my library is now worth many, many, many thousands of dollars. Mr. Schoaf gave me his recommendations and got me going. Self-education, Schoaf advised. Standard education would produce standard results, he asserted. You can look at those stats to see whether that's what you want, but if you want to advance farther, you must now educate yourself. He therefore kicked off my library for me. One way is to build your library, he suggested. Considering that I had a Bible with 66 books, that's a fairly decent price. But he also suggested the following. First, purchase the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You should read Think and Grow Rich if you haven't already. Think and Grow Rich should pique your interest. In a used bookstore, I discovered that book. It cost me 47 cents to buy. I still possess it. One of the uncommon hardback covers. I went over it dozens of times. Repetition is the mother of skill, Schoaf once told me. Some of the concepts I learned from the book changed my life. I paid 47 cents for the book, which now that I think about it was worth several $100,000. What a lesson I received on the distinction between price and worth. How much does it cost? Was a question I used to ponder until I met Mr. Schoaf. Once I had met Mr. Schoaf, I inquired, what is its value? Everything changed when I decided to live my life based on value rather than price. However, Think and Grow Rich was only the first book. He advised me to get the book on nutrition as the second book. Study nutrition, Schoaf advised. That first novel was probably written by Adele Davis. Eat well to stay fit. Although I believe I now have several, I believe that was the first. Study nutrition, Schoaf advised. Additionally, there are numerous literature about nutrition. Simply read each one. Some are a bit strange. But you did read each one, right? Do crazy things if you're weird. Anyhow, whatever. Read them, though. Then come to your own decision. Keep in mind, don't read and join the herd. Read and pursue education. Decide what you want. Find a strategy that works for you, but obtain the facts. Books about food. Mr. Schoaf said the following to me: being successful depends greatly on one's vitality. Some people perform poorly because they are unwell, he said. Not that they lack intelligence. It's because they are sick. They lack the zing, the fire, and the vitality necessary to succeed. He therefore made me aware of the need of understanding nutrition. Jim, you wouldn't believe that, he said. I have a guy who grows racehorses, he remarked. The man owns 9 books on feeding horses. He lacks a manual on how to take care of himself. My acquaintance researches the vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, protein, amino acids, carbs, lipids, and enzymes that are used in equine nutrition, the man stated. The right balance for his horses.
He's a zealot, Schoaf added. He then added, see these horses, you should. They are amazing, lovely, and strong creatures. They have the speed of the wind. He then added, you should visit him. He is a mess. The man feeds his horses better than he feeds himself, he noted. Do you agree with that? If you can believe it, I later learned that some people feed their pets better than they feed their children. Anyway, I didn't mean to lecture you about your health here tonight, alright? But, hey, look for yourself. Focus on that area because it's one of the solutions to success. Even a Bible verse states that the body is often weak even though the spirit is often ready. Let's see, you're in trouble. And that is a difficulty. When you first wake up, your mind tells you to go grab them. I can't even get out of bed, the body cries. Consequently, you must work on both sides of this, correct? Okay. But begin building your library. Compile it after you gather the books. The hallmark of civilization is the book. It's intriguing to enter a person's home and look through their library since your collection speaks volumes about who you are. So organize your reading. Very significant. The second method is to listen in order to learn how to alter your life. Observe successful individuals and pay attention. You can now take advice from those who have failed. Make a note of both the positive and the negative. The notes on the contrapositive are titled, What Not to Do. Additionally, you must learn both what to do and what not to do. So, take a lesson from both the good and the bad. Okay? Find out what the poor read and what they don't. Alright? That's some useful knowledge. Take note of the negatives. But now you can also take advantage of the good. Get in touch with prosperous people. As they speak, pay attention. Pay attention to their delivery. It's significant. We all have roughly 16 waking hours each day. Spend those 16 hours practicing listening. And while listening is difficult, I advise practicing it. I discovered that talking is simpler than listening. But if you spend the 16 hours that you are awake practicing listening, sure enough, brilliant ideas often originate from unexpected places. We instruct salespeople to pay attention to children if they want to learn about selling. The best salespeople of all time must be children. They are incomparable. No, you cannot have an ice cream cone, the father informs his young kid. After 30 minutes, he is licking one. That would be worth listening to for 30 minutes. You wouldn't believe how well they move. The kids never took a class on how to get past obstacles, but persistence runs as deep as the ocean. They don't require classes because they already know how. In order to learn, listen. Here are some of the best suggestions I have for the evening. Nothing will improve on this. That's it, those in need should invite wealthy folks to dinner and ask them to listen. That's a good portion of what I have. Finding a guy who is doing well and offering to buy him supper should be one of the first things a guy who is struggling should do. Spend $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, or $300 and order all 9 courses. Start him off on the juices and small plates. Get him to begin speaking. The 15-minute salad takes place. Just keep going. The largest steak in town requires 45 minutes. Just keep going. Pour the dessert on top. Allow that meal to last for around 2 hours. A successful person is likely to drop ideas in your lap, revolutionize your life, and multiply your wealth if you persuade them to eat and chat with you for 2 hours. By 2, 3, or 5 times your income. Yet you're correct. Usually, poor people don't invite wealthy people to supper. The issue is that, he remarked, he's wealthy. Let him purchase his own meal. I'm not generating any cash. Furthermore, you work where I work, so by the time you struggle home, it's already late, he continues. You're lucky to have your own food, never mind searching for a rich man to feed. And the man is delinquent on his mortgage payment. Good, diligent, and sincere workers. But you must put in a lot of effort and go beyond sincerity. You end up bankrupt. You must be a good listener in addition to being a competent worker. And keep track of what you read and hear, write the worthwhile information in your journal. Here is the third method for learning how to alter your life. And the point is to watch. Simply watching can teach you a lot of things. Move around, watch successful people. Why? Because success leaves traces. Keep an eye on the man's handshake. Observe the woman's reaction. People who succeed consistently engage in particular behaviors, which, if you're smart, you can pick up. See it all. If a man makes $10,000 per month, I would pay attention to how he walks. That might be it. Take after his cute little walk. Well, that's kind of a ridiculous walk, someone remarks. It's 10,000, you say. Although I don't currently have the money, I do have the walk. It has to begin somewhere. Tonight, I'm asking you to be out of the ordinary and to pay close attention to what is happening. Ideas that could alter your life are available to you starting tomorrow. Just watch more carefully. Keep in mind that there are 2 ways to see. The first one is sight. Use your eyes to see. The other is known as insight. Use your mind to see. With your eyes open, you will perceive things. With your thinking, you can see the solutions. Put your brains and eyes to work. The best piece of advice for improving vision and insight is to pay attention. Take note of everything. Preoccupation and lack of concentration are 2 of the biggest barriers to success that we discuss in the weekend session. The guy's thoughts stray. See, you end up being typical. You must develop your ability to focus and zero in. Reader's Digest once had a good piece that I read. Wherever you are, be there was the slogan. Excellent. Take note of everything.
We've dwelt a little too long on the first tip for personal development. Learn how things operate, but it's crucial that you do. And I've provided you with 3 options to do so. Here is the next phase of personal growth. Okay. The first step was to learn how things operate. Here is the second, get to work. Now that you have knowledge, you must act on it. We refer to it as a game plan when conducting business internationally. Create a strategy for the game. We focus a lot on teaching game plans and how to game plan your office over the weekend workshops. You need a strategy if you work in sales. Kids require a strategy. You need a social game and home game strategy. A strategic business plan. Everyone, including you and your investments, needs a game plan for financial freedom. Instead of thinking in your head, write it down. Operate from paper rather than your mind. What are you going to do during the next 6 months? Is a question I frequently ask people. And someone begins to explain to me. I beg, don't tell me, please. Tell me. Show me your 6-month strategy, please. Then I can assess the situation and perhaps offer assistance. However, you must work with paper. Put it in your strategy. Use what you learned to your advantage. The best word I can think of to describe action is as follows: massive. I see how that will alter everything. Massive action is referred to be the panacea. Make a few thousand calls if you're going to make any. If you're going to contact people, contact several thousand. Knock on a few thousand doors if you're going to knock on doors. I see how that will alter everything. Here is how the underprivileged speak. I'll give it a shot or two and see how it goes. It's the way people in poverty speak. Well, I'll give it 30 days, the man responds. 30-day period? You could figure out how much money he had. You must have a more effective strategy. So starting tomorrow, here is one of the key tasks: have a look at your strategy. Change it tomorrow if there isn't a ton of action. Action. The formula actually operates as follows: take an excellent idea and go with it. Pick up a few good ideas and move quickly. The secret to success is this: intense activity. We're lucky we can modify all of this, don't we? The secret to success is, go all out with a good idea. Right? The ratio is that. Now the important part: waiting until you have mastered 2,000 or 3,000 things won't help you, since you'll run out of time and risk being both intelligent and impoverished. Hey, it's alright to be illiterate and poor. But it's pathetic if a guy is smart and poor. Don't allow your education result in wisdom, otherwise, you'll end as a fool. Put your knowledge into practice, and you can succeed financially. And riches comes in a variety of forms. I realize that extends beyond finances. One of the least important values is money. I am aware of certain individuals who have cash that is incredibly bad. Singing by Evita: both fame and good wealth are illusions. They are not the answers they claim to be. There is therefore a variety of wealth, but in order to receive a significant portion, you must have a strong action plan. The third stage of personal development is now available, and with that, we will conclude the topic. The third step is simply a word of caution. We also need to take small precautions throughout life. This one is straightforward: don't try to manipulate the system. Learn how it functions, use it, but don't attempt to defeat it. Some people only pick up the necessary knowledge to begin slicing, shattling, and thinning it, taking shortcuts, and seeking out inexpensive solutions. Look, don't trip. You'll end up leading a meager life. Discover the ideal method and follow it.
To do it properly, even though it seems to take a bit longer. Don't give in on the right. Here's another key under this step: be a quick study. Don't let learning time drag on. Quick learning: do not repeatedly run up against the wall. Quicker learning: one man claimed he repeatedly broke the same part of his nose 7 times. Looks like you'd stay away of that spot, right? Someone says. Quicker learning: the final recommendation is to not be obstinate. As you can see, some people are resistant to improvement. Well, I've been doing it this way for 30 years, they claim. Hey, get accustomed to change. Go for it if it's a better option. But do not attempt to defeat it, else you'll end up like the man who visited Las Vegas. He was short on cash. He didn't want to gamble with his money, but when he arrived in Las Vegas, the jackpot bells were ringing, the cash was flowing, and the lights were flashing. And he is powerless to resist. He must play the dice. But he chooses to engage in mental gambling rather than engaging in physical gambling. And here is the fantastic plan he came up with: he would choose a number like 3. He would place an amount of money on the number in his mind. And he would record that sum in his small pad whether it won or lost. If I had placed that wager, I would have received $5. Win or lose, keep track of it. So that he can determine his standing at midnight, winner or loser, and how much. Keep his money, just not his. play this game of mental roulette. Thus, he is present at the gaming table. Everyone other paid with their hard-earned money. He has this fantastic plan. He places mental wagers rather than financial ones. And he went insane. So, I guess, don't try to game the system. Let's discuss some further facets of personal development. Physical is the first one. You need to take care of your physical needs. Don't forget to look after yourself. In my clumsy approach, I'll utilize some excellent Bible terminology, but let me the best I can to you. It states, treat your body like a shrine. That is a wise phrase and recommendation. A temple is something you treat with the utmost respect. Treating your body like a temple is a wise idea. A temple, not a shed, a temple. Please be careful. You currently have nowhere else to reside. The nutrition temple. My mother studied nutrition and taught me, my father, my children, and my grandchildren about it. What a legacy it left to simply take care of your possessions. Some people struggle academically because they feel unwell. They possess both the abilities and the gifts. Perhaps they simply haven't cared for themselves. They are lacking in life. Important, vitality is a crucial component of success. So, look after yourself. I am aware of a man that breeds racehorses. The man feeds his horses better than he feeds himself, I tell you. He feeds his horses with such care. He is quite picky about what they consume. They gain everything because to his extreme caution. And because of that meticulous care, these animals are truly wonderful. They have the speed of the wind. However, you must see this man. He's completely out of breath after only 10 steps up a flight of stairs. Even though his horses can run as fast as the wind, he struggles to climb the stairs. The man provides better care for his animals than he looks after himself. Some people choose to feed their dogs to their children. Physical. There are many different components to physical now. One is physical appearance. It belongs to the physical. The first impression you create is the only impression you get. Physical aspect. Here are some of the top tips for looking good. I have something for you that is written in an old script. It reads, God has an inside gaze. People assess things externally. Not bad information, is it? Well, people shouldn't evaluate you based just on your appearance, you say now. Let me give you a hint, though, it's true. It's true. Shoulds and shouldn'ts are off limits because doing so would make you fall over for the rest of your life. Naturally, once people arrive at if they don't only look at you, they'll also consider who you are. However, they will initially look. So, the best piece of advice I can give you is this: make sure that what is happening inside is largely reflected on the outside. The bodily aspect. Stay healthy for a short while each day. A little bit of nutrition research and a little bit of nourishment. Remain healthy. Key. The next phase of personal development is now available, the spiritual phase. In terms of spirituality, I'm a novice. I do think that humans are more than merely an enhanced form of life. A well-developed animal species. I do think that God's creation of humanity is unique. I don't ask you to agree with my personal opinion, it's just mine. But this is what I do ask that you purchase. Here's my best suggestion: if you do hold any kind of spiritual belief, learn it and put it to use. Do not disregard your morals. Keep your virtues in mind. I would suggest learning about and engaging in spirituality if you do hold that belief. Do not neglect to research it. If you do believe it, don't let it go without nourishment. My best piece of spiritual counsel is that. Here is the third component, the mental aspect. The mental development component of this personal development challenge. Study, grow, and transform. It's the main goal of education. And the process of human development takes a very long period. We have set aside time for this seminar because of it. Just give it some time.
There are some topics that cannot be covered in a 20-minute speech. It takes time, you can't cover it in a quick 5-minute talk. For humans, it seems to take longer than for any other type of life. Try to estimate how long it will take the newborn African wildebeest to be able to run with the herd and avoid being eaten by lions. Try to guess how much time is left. A few moments. Hours not. Not hours. Minutes. Wow. But the infant human. Wow. We're not sure after 16 years, right? It takes a reasonable length of time. Therefore, personal development, spiritual development, and physical development all take time. But what also need time is as follows: that is how you grow mentally, by feeding and nourishing your intellect. Some people read so little that they develop mental rickets. They were unable to provide you with a convincing defense of their own personal convictions. You have to be able to pick up such ideals, I'm telling you. You must have the capacity to absorb the philosophy. The next need is that you should be able to protect it. Even in the 1990s, I'm telling you, if you can't stand up for your morals and principles, you'll succumb to ideologies that are not in your best interests. Additionally, we must assist our teenagers. We need to support our children in their ability to discuss important life issues, political concerns, and the other areas that are important for us to develop the kind of equity we want, such as the social, religious, and spiritual issues, as well as the economic, nutritional difficulties. You must prepare yourselves. Additionally, in order to be prepared, you must prepare mentally as well as physically and spiritually. And this is when Shof started working on me, getting me mentally prepared, helping me establish my philosophy, and teaching me how to stand up for my morals and principles. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe for more just like it.